What is going on, Panthers Nation? Carolina Dad here, your host of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. Panthers continue to make a splash in free agency. Although the bulk of free agency is done, got some pretty big news out of the Carolinas yesterday. And that news, Jadeveon Clowney signing with the Carolina Panthers. And I really love this move. I know I've talked a little bit about it throughout the last few episodes in free agency. I thought we were a long shot with him talking to the Jets and a few other teams. Thought there, including Baltimore, thought there was no way he was going to come here. But sure enough, he did. Now, before we get into the weeds with Jadeveon Clowney, I'd also like to say shout out to our man Sam Franklin, special teams extraordinaire, who also signed to return to the Carolina Panthers yesterday. But Jadeveon Clowney, let's talk about it. So he wanted to come home. That's the report. He wanted to be closer to family. I know Baltimore's kind of close, but I mean, can't really get much closer than Charlotte, where he grew up. I think it's about 30 minutes away. So here he is, folks, back in the Carolinas, likely to finish out his career here. He signed a 2-year contract, $20 million. 2 years, 20 million. Think there's upwards of 24 million based on some incentives and bonuses tied to sacks. And speaking of sacks and production, Jadeveon Clowney had better production than Brian Burns did last year. Now, when I've talked about this, I've also said, yes, I know Jadeveon was on a better team. There was a lot more playmakers, and maybe that is what opened it up. But I'm not going to knock 9.5 sacks. We need that production. It actually tied his career best season from 2017 with the Houston Texans. Now, Clowney's gone on quite a journey, folks. I mean, I think a lot of people remember him getting drafted by the Texans. After getting drafted by the Texans, bouncing around to a few different teams, Seahawks, Tennessee Titans, Browns for 2 years, the Ravens this past year, and now coming back home to Carolina. I think this is a great addition to this team, and I continue to harp on the job that Dan Morgan and Brant Tillis have done. So Dan Morgan getting the players, Brant Tillis structuring the contracts. I'm going to share this. I put it together last night, and it just sheds light on how well the front office has done this offseason. Just give me 1 second. Like I'm in a Zoom meeting, right? So here we go. I put this together last night, and I was like, man, we gotta talk about this. So coming into this, everyone was talking about Brian Burns and the Brian Burns contract. How much was he getting? $24 million, roughly. So what did the Panthers get in exchange for Burns outside of the draft picks? They ended up getting 5 starters. You know, if you probably could throw in an extra million for what Sam Franklin's likely going to get, and or one of these veteran guys, and say you got 6 starters, but we'll keep it with 5. So Brian Burns' tag was $24 million. The Panthers took those savings, and again, you could pick and choose how you divide up these, but I picked the big names so far. Robert Hunt, 6.4, Damian Lewis, 4.9, TJ Wanham, 4.1, Ashawn Robinson, 3.2, Josie Jewell, 3.4, totaling around $22.2 million. And like I said, I'm not doing this to say, yeah, I didn't want Burns. This is so much better, because I wanted him here. I always like to caveat that, but just wanted to add more context for folks outside of the Carolinas, because a lot of national media is like, the Panthers, what are they doing? How did they lose this trade? You just took a single player and replaced them with 5 or 6 players, and 5 or 6 players that are going to be starters, likely big contributors on this team. So think about that. And I had to shout out Alex Bryant for, he's kind of spurred the idea. I've seen him post a few times along the way some of this same thing, and I think he just caught out the name, so I wanted to break it down a step further. So shout out to him for the idea. But there you go, folks. Welcome home to Jadeveon Clowney. And hey, while I've got it here, let's share this just so you can see the year by year stats that we were looking at and what we are getting from Jadeveon. So, like I said, last year, one of the best seasons he's had yet. 43 combined tackles, 19 assists, 9.5 sacks. See the production there. With the Browns, I mean, to go from 2 to 9.5, Browns, he had 9. I think if he can sit in that 7 to 10 range, 10's a lot. If he can just replace, because then you have DJ Wonham on the opposite side. That's the thing about this is we are adding depth. Depth is a thing that the Panthers desperately need. You're getting close to almost 70 players signed on the roster, and that's before we get into the draft. That's a big difference, folks, because we'll bring on our draft picks, maybe another free agency or two, hopefully a Stephon Gilmore. But if you go back and look, I was counting it right before this, and I think there were about 18 undrafted free agents signed last year that were depth pieces, which that's not a bad thing. But now we're going to have veteran players, actual players with experience here competing for roster spots. The one thing about this, and I'll pull this up here too. I wonder if I can do a presentation mode. Don't know that I can, but we can still. Yeah, I can. So I'm not going to do it. I'll just share it this way, though. Give me one sec. Again, let's talk about it. And share. Slowly getting there, folks. Slowly getting there. Can ignore the garbage on the side. So let's zoom in here. So draft needs. I've talked about draft needs. Carolina Panthers top six draft needs. I said center, edge, wide receiver, cornerback, inside linebacker, tight end. I think the Panthers are in a position to truly get best available player now. So center, I don't think you have to have a center now, like out of the gate. Same thing with edge. I think this gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Yes, you still want to get someone and draft and develop because Clowney's older, still 2 years here. Wide receiver, I think maybe moves towards the top. Cornerback, I think you could make a case for cornerback and inside linebacker. And then let's just go out and get a playmaking tight end. I know there's a lot of folks that are high on Tommy Trimble, just like I am, but why not? Why not go out and get a playmaker for Bryce? Just let him develop, right? Give him an opportunity. So that's my thought. That's my thought. Exciting news. Let's see if there was anything else that came through yesterday, folks. Try to pull this up for you. No, I don't really think there was. I think the biggest thing is Stephon Gilmore. The Panthers have been in touch with Stephon Gilmore, so we will wait to see if we're able to land him, which would be another nice addition to this team. A reunion of sorts again. Also, local guy. We know he was here for a short time, but love it. Sweet. Well, that's all I got, folks. This is Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good one.